Kalimera, kalispera, kalinichta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It is a new week. It is a blank canvas. It's time to paint pictures and tell Arsenal stories. Let's rock and roll, kids.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another brand new week here at Squad Central. Just so you know, the images you're seeing this evening, as you know, we love to showcase an Arsenal artist during our shows. And thank you to Jacob, otherwise known as Poorly Drawn Arsenal. You can follow him at Can't Draw Arsenal. This is a gem of a shot that he created after the win against Brighton. And the real image is right here. Pretty accurate. And also back for another round of Arsenal talk is one of my favourite humans in the whole world, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Squaddies, good to be back at ease. Let's get into it.
Let's indeed get into it. Super Kev, as you know, Monday Madness. By the way, everyone enjoying the eclipse, for those of you who can see it. Brilliant stuff. I am in a makeshift studio. I'm at my mum and dad's house in Cyprus, back in Cyprus. I'm here for a couple of weeks. And next Monday's show will also be broadcast live from the island of love. Right. I've got something different for you, Kev, this evening and the squaddies. Here we go. It's a top 5 talking points, okay? And here's the theme behind tonight's show. I just want to read this out to people, something I wrote earlier today. Squaddies, Super Kev, we've been beaten up so much since the last time we won the Premier League and were in the Champions League final. The FA Cups were a beautiful thing, but they mask the pain of not being competitive in the two most important areas, the domestic league and Europe. As Arsenal fans, I believe we need to start allowing ourselves permission to believe again. But we're afraid of our own past and our football shadow. As Arsenal fans, we don't want to set ourselves up for ridicule with opposing fans, but should we even care anymore when we know we'll never get the respect we deserve until we win one of the big ones? I've said this since the end of January. It's time to start enjoying the journey. It's time to be fearless fans. The energy we put out is the energy we get back. So, as I was in the shower today, I thought to myself, what are the things I'm afraid to talk about? What are the things I'm actually thinking, in my Greek head, of course, that I want to say out loud, but some folks might think I'm jumping the gun? Do I even care anymore? The answer is no, so here we go. Super Kev, top 5 talking points. Are you ready? By the way, kids, I'm doing this from my phone, okay? So I'm going to try and put as many of your messages up as I can as Super Kev is talking as well. Number 1, Super Kev, if Mikel Arteta wins the Premier League, does it mean he's had as much success within 4 years as Jurgen Klopp has had over 7 years? You always say to me, Kev, that football's about winning, sports is about winning. Finishing second is nice twice, but what do you think? If he does, Klopp's won 1 Premier League, he's finished twice. Mikel Arteta's finished second. He's finished second twice. If Mikel Arteta wins it, he would have won 1 and finished second last season. Am I nuts, or is this a valid way of thinking?
Well, I think the way Liverpool done it was a bit different to the way Arsenal done. If Arsenal win it, the way Arsenal would win it. But that doesn't detract from the achievement. Because don't forget, Soph, Mikel Arteta's won an FA Cup, but that's not even taken into consideration. Why? Because it's not. It's a prestigious trophy, but it's not the big trophy that we want, because that's the way Arsenal are judged. So, Mikel Arteta winning the title will prove that within 4 years he's as good as Klopp.
DS is telling me I'm always nuts, Super Kev. I don't think it's nutty at all. Listen, some people will say, oh, but they lost by a point. They lost by a hair's breadth of a ball not going over the line.
You still lost.
They still lost. Exactly.
Jules Graham's old saying, nobody's interested in the loser. That's why we breed winners here. That was George Graham's philosophy. It doesn't matter how you get there. You got to win, because they build the memories.
Excuse me, guys. I'm running
Bless
a bit
you.
of a cold.
Bless
Thanks, Kev. I've been sneezing all day.
And Sophie, the fact Liverpool finally got it done against this Man City team. But Arsenal are taking them both on.
Kev, do you think... Thank you, by the way, everyone. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of the time, talk about the trajectory of Arsenal and Mikel Arteta being very similar to that of Jurgen Klopp. And some folks think that Liverpool winning the title during COVID, not that it should have an asterisk next to it, but even here when I'm in the US, they say that, some of the titles won during that time, can you compare it? No fans in stadiums. They still won it. I don't think that's a fair assessment. Do you?
I can be cheeky and I could say, of course it is. We found out how difficult it is to play without fans at the Emirates. We nearly broke records of losing. But the game's got to go on.
Mm-hmm.
So Liverpool adapted best. And they were primed to win it.
Yeah, it was their time. Let's be fair. It was their time. Okay. Let us know what you think, guys. Let us know if you believe that if Mikel Arteta does end up winning the Premier League, his 4 years are just as good as Jurgen Klopp's 7 years if they've both won one Premier League title. We're just talking about the Premier League. We're not talking about Europe, but we are going to move on to Europe right now. My point number 2 for Super Kev and you squaddies this Monday, 220 of you in live chat across all of our platforms. Hit that like button for us. Do what our Chief Like Officer Tammy Steele says. All right, Super Kev, here's this one. This one, you might get tough on me. Let's see. If Arsenal were to win the Premier League or Champions League or both, wait, hold on 1 second. I'll save this one. Yeah, let's do this one. Does a Champions League title put Mikel Arteta in the same bracket as George Graham and Arsene Wenger? It's the only trophy that we've never won. Does he immediately stand beside them as a legendary Arsenal manager, Super Kev? What's your take on that one?
Not only stands beside them, but he has a little flaw that's his own. Because the Champions League has been very elusive for Arsenal. We thought George Graham could do it, but we needed to build. For Arsene Wenger with that wonderful Invincibles team, etc., could do it. They couldn't win a trophy in Europe, so you know, George Graham won a trophy in Europe. That wonderful Arsene Wenger team couldn't do it. All those wonderful Arsene Wenger teams couldn't do it. That's how difficult it is. So if Mikel could do that, they're eating at the same table, but I tell you what, Mikel Arteta, he has a little, like I said, he has a little room that's all his own.
Special door with a padlock on it.
Yeah,
Lovely.
you know, he has an office at the top, very top, because winning the Champions League for Arsenal, the first, that's one to celebrate.
Yeah. K Marlon says, CL Trophy, we put him up there with the best of them and even eclipses Wenger. Well, Wenger did something that nobody else has done, and that's gone invincible. I think they're on the Mount Rushmore together, Super Kev. I think it just, for me, he doesn't supersede them, but he definitely is up with them.
Well, supersede and all that. Listen, Arsene Wenger doing the Invincibles, he's already got his office. You know, he's already got his office, his specialist private office. Mikel Arteta gets a private office, but he'd have done it in 4 years.
That's something.
And remember, Soph, when he first came in, he was talking about Champions League and all this stuff, and a lot of people thought he was balmy. Look at us now. I think this is a winnable double leg against Bayern. We're playing the right type of football. We're not giving up any goals. We just got to make sure our attack is right. That's all. Because defensively, I believe in the team.
Yeah. So one of the other kind of, 2A parts to this, Kev, is one of our listeners just put it up there. I mean, what if he does the double? This is what I wanted to talk about because everyone's afraid to talk about it.
I mean, come on. I mean, after all these years, waiting all this time, getting all the banter and getting and people seeing how the media treat us and everything, to win the Premier League and the Champions League together, and the Champions League finals at Wembley. It'd be beyond special.
And the fact that it's at Wembley, Kev.
Yeah, Mikel will have some office.
He will, definitely will. Stephen Feely, no Laguna in the house, a good friend of the show, designed all of our swag. I'm not even thinking about winning anything. Last season scared me, but I'm so excited for what's to come. So this is the part, Stephen, that I'm starting to think maybe it would be easier to think these things had we won a Premier League, but the fact that we haven't, I think, doesn't allow us that permission to do so. But I'm allowing myself the permission to talk about these things because before we talk about it, and we actually couldn't back it up, we didn't have a good team. We didn't even have a competitive team. Whereas now we've got a team that's competing against two of the greatest managers of all time.
The question is, for us Gooners, What are we afraid of?
This is it.
What are we afraid of? We've played the best team on the planet. The world champions. The world club champions. Held them to 0 at their place, where we usually get turned over. What do we have to fear?
Yeah. Well said, Kev, because this is the part where I was like, what? I'm tired of being afraid. I'm tired of not talking about, it's not even the what if. It's like, this is what sports is all about. And so here's another wacky one that might, get the kids in a bit of a tiz. Number 3. You see the headline, everyone. Okay, don't come at me just yet. Let me read out my question before we even get there. If Arsenal were to win the Premier League or Champions League, or let's say both, Kev, is there, or could you foresee a player in our team that would be in the conversation running for the Ballon d'Or? For example, okay, hold on. What if Saka stars in the Euros or Rice? Odegaard's been special. Saliba's a generational talent, even though it's hard for defenders to win the Ballon d'Or. No? Why?
It.
Tell me why.
Because winning it's a great achievement. Great achievement. But there's a hierarchy in that Ballon d'Or. We've seen it for years. It will push some of our players up in the rankings, 100%. But there won't be any of our players, in my opinion, winning the Ballon d'Or.
Tammy agrees with you, and a lot of the guys in the chat agree with you. A lot of the guys are saying what Archangel up and ready to go for live from Australia is Archangel, that we're more of a team and a group than looking at this as individuals. Maybe before we did have individual players. But I just think that now with Ronaldo out the way and with Messi out the way, Haaland is the best goal scorer in the world. He's not the best player in the world. Kevin De Bruyne hasn't had a great season. Bayern Munich is 16 points behind Leverkusen, even though Harry Kane's banging in the goals. Of course, there are players at Real Madrid. Kylian Mbappe might be the one that rises, but what are PSG doing? I think it might be a year of opportunity if we do win one of the big ones and one of our players who is in the Euros stars for the Arsenal.
Like I said, I think that would push them up the rankings, but you're talking about players before who have suffered because of Ronaldo and Messi. So they've been there consistently underneath those two, because the rate that them two have set has been ridiculous. But I like team. I love team. I love the team ethic, the team togetherness. Win and lose as a team. Individuals. Other teams have better individuals than us, especially attacking wise. And it tends to be the attacking players or a creative player. So again, if we're going to have a star-studded team that starts getting recognised, we have to win the big stuff to get recognised. Just by doing okay domestically isn't enough.
Yeah, it always seems to be that the Champions League is always the swinger, for sure.
I'll tell you what, Soph, the question should be, we win the league, Champions League, how many of our players get elevated to world class?
Well, I think 4 at least. My 4 are Saliba, Odegaard, Saka, Declan Rice. You know, I mean, people are gonna. I'll await the comments in YouTube if I say Kai Havertz. We'll get to him eventually. Gabriel's been playing like a world-class centre-back. Ben White's been playing like a world-class right-back. But are they world-class? If they win it, maybe there's more than 4, Kev.
Maybe, but you won't know until they win it. They've got to win. Got to be winners.
Well, then I had this conversation with Natalie Sawyer when she was on, Kev, before the Brentford game, and she said the same thing. And I said, Harry Kane hasn't won anything, and he's considered world-class. How do you explain that?
Yeah, but he's easy because he's done it for England as well.
But I haven't won anything.
Doesn't matter. He's done it for England. He's banged goals in everywhere. In the Champions League, he banged goals in. For England, he's banged goals in. He goes to Bayern Munich, he's banging goals in. So, like I said, the forwards get more of a push. Especially strikers, goal scorers. Because they're so hard to find, Soph. So hard to find.
Okay, let me know what you think. Let Kev know what you think. I just think that this argument about, having to be world-class and winning, Harry Kane's the perfect example. A lot of you already said that in chat as well. And as I said, I talked to Natalie Sawyer about it. Let us know what you think on that one. And we'll duke it out. We'll keep duking it out. Okay, here's another one for you, Kev. And I've asked you this question before. And I've actually asked you this question a couple of times. The Kroenke haters have gone as quiet as the Havertz haters. Do you believe officially that we now have the best owners in the Premier League? The Fenway Group maybe over the years have been close, right? City and their 150 alleged charges, goodness knows what's going to happen to them if Everton are getting battered over the head right now. The Chelsea empire has fallen. Spurs are Spurs, and the Glazers are an absolute total disaster. Are we not the club with the best owners right now, Kev?
Potentially, yes. I think things changed when the Kroenkes took full control. I think they were getting, we've covered this, but they were getting quite a bit of stick when they weren't the majority. Now that they've got full ownership, I think they're just molded into the background, Soph, and let Mikel get on with it. And that all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
When most were calling for Mikel's head. And Josh Kroenke sat down with him, said, "You're going to be all right." That's what good ownership is. He's their guy. They believe in him. They believe in the project. They believed in the process. All these words that people are ripping him about, project and process, and what kind of madness is this? But I don't really see too many people complaining now.
I think I know there's other really good owners, Brentford, Brighton. I'm talking about when you look at the so-called top 6, maybe 8, Aston Villa, their owners have invested in their squad. I think it's undeniable right now that we have the best owners for all the reasons that Super Kev just said. If this was another club, Mikel Arteta would not be Arsenal manager right now. And he was offered his new contract when he was on his knees, when we were at the bottom of the Premier League. That's how much they believed in him, when not many people, including me, did not believe in Mikel Arteta and that he could turn things around. So for me, I think that they're definitely the best owners right now. If you look at the club and what they've allowed Mikel and Edu to do, hello, I'm a poet and I know it. They've given them the keys to the kingdom, Kev, but the kingdom has been guarded, a la Jon Snow. They're like Khaleesi with the dragon. Wait, one of the dragons died at the end, didn't it? Forget that. They're like Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. I really think that when you look at, I think there's some things that the club need to fix. Like this TIFO thing for tomorrow, stupid stuff like that, the ballot system and all that. They're employing people to run that, Kev. That's not on the Cronkies. The little things that some fans are still a little bit peeved about. But when it comes to investment, they gave you Declan Rice. They gave you Kai Havertz. They gave you Odegaard. They gave you Saliba. They gave you Gabriel Magalhaes, Benjamin White, Gabriel Jesus. For me, they're the best. Tifo sums it up. I agree with that. Josh Kroenke seems on the ball. Who got Edu in? Was it Josh? Yeah, I believe so. Edu score. Okay, well, yes.
Well, Edu's got to sign it off, hasn't he?
Yes, he does. I mean, they're picking.
Sorry,
I'm not saying
Josh has to sign it off.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're picking the players, Kev. I'm not saying, but they're giving the money in order for Edu and Mikel to get the players that they want. And they've totally backed this manager and they've backed Edu. And look where we are right now. So for me, it's a no-brainer that they're the best owners in the Premier League. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're listening on replay. By the way, all of our latest episodes are also uploaded to Spotify as well. Tim Lewis, Richard Garlick. You know what? We've gone from Raul to these guys running the show. We've got proper executives now. Yes. Did he? He did, actually. Well done. Gunnar Russ is in the house. Thank you for correcting us on that. Did he really? He was there then, yeah. He oversaw the 72 million purchase, Russ, of, I've forgotten his name.
Pepe.
Thank you. That's how memorable that was, Kev. That's how memorable that was. All right, let's get to the next. Listen, I'm a 10 hours time difference. I had a 15-hour flight to Doha. I slept for a few hours, and then I had a 4-hour flight to the island of love. So if I'm a little like blah, 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 tonight, forgive me. Anyway, we're here. Thank you, Russ. Russ is in the house. With Tammy's our chief like officer, Gunnar Russ has just become our editor. Super Kev. All right. By the way, how remiss of me, and I did have it ready to go. If an Arsenal player can't win the Ballon d'Or, Kev, can this fella win the Yashin Award? I forgot to ask you that. Don't you think that Don't you think he could ended up getting all the awards for being the best goalkeeper in Europe?
Now this is a different kettle of fish. Because if you win the league and the Champions League, you've got a big chance. And the hierarchy isn't so much.
By the way,
goalkeepers.
I love comments like this. Some of us fought for Arteta to stay a while the rest of you are losing your minds. I prefer the way Granddaddy Guna put it. I remember when you were on Tom's show saying that MA should go. I didn't agree with you, but I like the way you spoke about it. So researched and subscribed. Thank you so much. And also thank you for appreciating how I've articulated myself when it comes to having question marks about Mikel Arteta, which I felt like as a fan and a broadcaster, I was well within my rights to do so, considering how he started, how he lost the semi-final to Emery. When you look at that now, you think, how the heck did we lose to Emery? But Kev always said it's the players. And once he has played and he has a team in his image, then maybe we'll see the best of Mikel Arteta. And turnkey, this is his team right now. And we are. So well done to all of you guys who believed in Mikel Arteta from the beginning. And then, so I'd like the same energy for backing Kai Havertz from the beginning. I'd like, someone to toot my horn for backing Benjamin White since the beginning, Odegaard since the beginning, the signing of Jorginho. So I'll just wait for your comments. And thank you, Ian. I have always owned my opinions. And I've always said, you know what? When you're wrong, you're wrong. And currently, considering how we've evolved, I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, like Super Kev says, it's all about winning. So hopefully we'll get to that point. Right, okay. Here we go, Kev. I've got this one for you. So this is how it all started. And I was, talking about PTSD from Bayern Munich in the Champions League. This team doesn't have any history with the batterings from Bayern. Mikel Arteta, the manager, does. But this team doesn't. And I think not having that history is fundamentally important. Do you think going into this game against Bayern Munich, even though they're 16 points behind Bayer Leverkusen, there's certain teams where history does matter, but we've been able to have some vengeance this season and maybe a little bit last season against bogey teams. We've handed it back to Brentford. We've handed it back to Brighton. We gave it to Everton, Newcastle. What's your take on going into this game tomorrow, our history with Bayern, but the fact that none of these players know what it felt like to be battered as badly as we were?
Well, it's a totally different era. It's a totally different game. We shouldn't be trying to dredge the past up to bring it to the present. That's gone. That's Arsene Wenger stuff. That's gone. Because all that does is bring trauma to your head. Because it was painful, to say the least. Getting turfed by Bayern twice. 10-2 on aggregate. Getting battered. Feeling you haven't got a team who can compete. It was embarrassing. But sometimes you've got to draw a line in the sand. That's gone now. Good. Damn right these players ain't got nothing to do with the past. Don't show them no old videos. Don't show them nothing. Bayern have the pedigree. Of course they do. They have the history. We know what type of club Bayern are. And Bayern, fair enough, in the league, they've fallen in the league. But this is one of the juggernauts of European football. But if we want to be a juggernaut ourselves, Soph, we've got to beat them. And they're not playing well enough at present in our head to beat us. Now, could they turn it on? Of course they could. Of course they could. Because this is the dangerous part. This is the last chance saloon.
Exactly.
So this is what we've got to be vigilant over. Yeah, we are inexperienced, Soph. And a lot of the time that goes against teams like Arsenal. But I think we have so many good things in place within the team. The defence, the midfield, the protections. It's just, like I said a bit earlier, it's just we've got to get our attacking heads on in the Champions League. If we can, tell you, it would be difficult to stop.
You're right to bring up the fact that this is all they're fighting for. Actually, I'm not sure if they're in any of the domestic cups.
Nope.
Let me know. They're not, are they, Kev?
Nope.
You're right, Seb. We have something to prove and show the world. And I actually think that if we don't get a positive result against this particular Bayern Munich team, it would be more damaging to us mentally, Kev, than if we had lost to Manchester City in the Premier League. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Well, losing to Manchester City in the Premier League is something that happens on a regular for us. So there's no surprise there. The interesting part, Soph, is we didn't lose to Man City, and we kept them to a clean sheet at their gaff. Do you know how?
That was huge.
Do you know how important mentally that is for Arsenal? Listen, this is the best team in the world, so no team holds them out. We did, and we created better chances than them.
We have the maturity, and it was professionalism. And I'm going to get to the game. I'm going to finish up by getting your thoughts on the game against Brighton as well, Super Kev. But there is a level of maturity and professionalism about us this season that the hurt and the overcoming the adversity from losing in the Champions League season to losing the league last year, it's growth. And the players that we've added, and I want to get to a player, and I want Super Kev to talk about him because he sees it from the perspective of the player, and Kev always takes us beyond the white lines, how difficult it is sometimes when you're struggling, when the expectations of the world are on you, when you're being ridiculed by certain sections of your own fan base, when you're being ridiculed by opposing fans, media, pundits, excuse me, all of the above. For me, what Kai Havertz is doing right now and what he's bringing to the team is, dare I say, world-class performances. Not necessarily from the reason why I've called it Hawkeye Havertz, and by the way, I think it's Logan or Lachlan Stout on the Gooner Talk TV. I was in Tom's chat today, and they were talking about Havertz, and the title of our show was Hawkeye Havertz, and then he cleverly changed my Hawkeye to Hawkeye, spelled that way, because he's a marksman. Like, you can also compartmentalize world class. A player could be a header of the ball and it'd be world class. He could be a world class tackler, like a Franco Baresi or whatever. There's something about Havertz. He's got this ice cold world class marksman type when he needs to be who he is, Kev, and we want him to be. He's become that, and he has been that since the beginning of the year. Talk to me a little bit about his performance, taking us into the player mind of how he's had to overcome a lot of crap to get to this point. And my goodness, how important is he to us right now?
Well, it makes it even sweeter when you don't start well. Typical Arsenal. Didn't want him in the first place. Why are we wasting 60 odd million on him? Exactly, Ian. 60 million down the drain, etc. That's the start. He hadn't even kicked the ball yet. Being ridiculed, don't forget, Soph, in the skills challenge in America.
I was there. I saw it with my own eyes.
Being ridiculed. So he didn't have a great time in the end at Chelsea. Came across London to Arsenal. Was vilified to start with. But this just shows his character. Kept getting on that pitch. He'll make mistakes, no problem. I'll make the mistake. And then in the background, Soph, the manager is helping him improve. And he's getting better and better every week. His work rate's fantastic. His hold-up play is very good. His touches in and around the box, outside the box, link-up play are very, very good. But the key is, Soph, when you start adding goals and proper centre-forwards goals, he kind of plays the false nine, but he's scoring proper centre-forwards goals. He's one of the first names on the team sheet.
Mm-hmm.
He is. He's fully committed. He's got a bit of nasty in him as well, by the way.
He's mastered the dark arts, that one.
He's got a bit of nasty, so what is he on? Double figures for the season. Many people wouldn't have had him on 5, but he's on double figures already. And I believe he has a big part to play
Mm-hmm.
in this running.
Yeah, I agree. And by the way,
Huge part to play.
Everybody who's saying about world class, define world class and all of that. Listen, we all know that Messi and Ronaldo are the world class players. Mbappe's won a World Cup, so he's elevated. You've also said Harry Kane's world class. He hasn't won anything. I said that there are certain players who have attributes that are world class. Doesn't mean that he's a complete world class player. You know, let's not forget he scored a winning goal in a Champions League. He's come up in big moments. There's certain parts of his game, like Mesut Ozil, right? Some people don't think that Mesut Ozil was world class. But for me, Mesut Ozil stood above everybody because of his football brain. And that put him in an elite level. And I think Kai Havertz is such a smart, clever footballer, Kev. He's the type that thinks ahead. One of the frustrating things I think that Ozil had to encounter at Arsenal was that he was always thinking 2 passes ahead and players couldn't keep up with him.
Wavelength.
And sometimes being in that smart footballer and getting yourself in positions is just as important as running as fast as a Mudryk, you know, or a player with pace, knowing where to be, how to be there. And I love watching him play. I really enjoy watching Kai Havertz play football. That's me.
Funny thing is, Soph, you see the best of Ozil when Alexis turns up.
Yes.
Because Alexis is on the same wavelength. So Ozil doesn't, he can play quick. Because he knows Alexis will read it. That's why the Invincibles were so good. They were all kind of on the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you need. That's the cohesion right there. Defensively, we're all on the same page. And have you noticed something, Sophie? On the sideline, Mikel Arteta ain't going crazy anymore.
He's not.
He is calm.
Sorry, I thought Havertz was on 10 goals. See, I told you I'm jet lagged.
No. He's on. That's Premier League goals. I said
Total.
all his goals. I think totals is on 10.
Yeah. Shut up, Newman. He's like, why are you handing out awards and stuff? I said, I'm not handing out nothing. I'm talking about the things that maybe some other people are afraid to talk about. Because you know why? I love my team. I believe in my team. I said, like, I was wrong about the manager. A lot of you were wrong about the players, right? Let's not, like, play tit for tat here. It is.
A lot of people call me. Do you remember the lawyer?
Yeah. Esquire.
Arteta'S lawyer.
Well, Kev, you had his... Whoa. It's thundering and lightning in Cyprus. What's happening here? Kev, you had his back from day one. You always said that it would be a lot of a different story once he got his own players. And you were right. 100% right. And, you know, it's a great thing. And you know what? I couldn't be more happy to be wrong. I'm so happy to be wrong. Because if Mikel Arteta succeeds, that means my team succeeds. And I love that. And I love that I'm wrong and that I had that wrong in his first 1.4 months. And it's almost 4 years. Someone also corrected me. You guys are correcting me on my numbers tonight. You're very alert and very aware. And I love that, Kev. If I had my cards with me, I'd hand myself a yellow card. Right. Kev did get major grief. He did. Not only from our listeners, he got grief all over the place. Do you remember that, Barry? Remember the lawyer days? Oh, Kev. Must feel nice to be right, though, innit?
No, it's like I said at the time. Everybody's got their opinion. But one thing I've got above everybody else is I've been in the dressing room. I know what a successful team looks like. and Mikel Arteta was making the necessary adjustments ruthlessly to get there.
Thank goodness.
And that was something I could get behind. Because you can't have slackers. So you can't. You can't have captains who turn up late for North London derby. You can't.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
You know, you can't.
Yeah, you can't. Well, listen, you guys, it's been emotional, as Vinnie Jones said, in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. I wish we could stay here for hours. Apparently, you guys are organising a five-a-side game, I see. Kev, they're organising meet and greets and get-togethers.
Lovely. The community, love
the community. We love to see that. And actually, Tom Canton was talking about his community on the show today and very kindly mentioned Highbury Squad as well. And as much as, well, you actually don't annoy me, but, you know, maybe at times only one person is probably the most annoying person in chat. But we love him too, don't we, Kev?
Of course we do.
We certainly do. Listen, everybody in chat, thank you so much for joining. We've got a massive game tomorrow night. Can I ask you for a prediction before we duck out, Super Kev?
I could tell you the score I want. I want 2-0 Arsenal. I want a clean sheet. And I want 2-0.
I was talking to my cousin earlier today and I said, we definitely have to score 2 goals because Harry Kane's going to score 1. And he's like, nah, we're changing the narrative now. That's not even going to happen. And I said, okay, sure, fine. I'll say 3-1. 3-1. We got 4 nils. We got 2 1s. We got 2 nils. We got 3 1s. We got 2-0. We got love from Gunnar and a 1-1. Yes, Tom's a legend. I would love to join you, and so would Super Kev, but we're going to get together soon again. You guys, don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. Right, let me know if you think this show has been wacky. Let me know if you think my top 5 talking points tonight have been absolutely wacky. I say enjoy the journey as much as you can. Believe whatever you want. Say whatever you want. Because, and I'm talking about positively, not the other side of things. And, you know, this is fun. This has been fun. Last season and this season is fun. I love the anxiety. I love the stress. It's a different kind of anxiety and stress. It's not the stress going into the game thinking we're going to get smacked 5-1. We're going to lose 10-2. I'm all for it, Super Kev. You have the final word. Squaddies, I love you. And I apologise for my jet lag and then I don't. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. Super Kev, over to you.
Listen, Gooners, this is what we signed up for. This is what all the moaning and the infighting and all of that was for over the years. So what have we got to fear? We've got nothing to fear. Let's go at it. Goes our way, brilliant. Even better. Goes against us, we dust ourselves down, and we go again. We've proven we're improving every year. So, on that note, let's just back the team all the way to the end. And whatever happens, happens. We make sure we tell our loved ones we love them, whether it's just a text, an emoji of a heart, whatever. Contact your people, contact your loved ones, family, friends. Make sure you reach out to them to see if they're all right as well. And you know what, squaddies? Keep the community going. Keep doing things together. Keep putting smiles on each other's faces. And we'll see you again very soon. God bless. Look after yourself. And at ease, squaddies. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Where's the end button on the phone? There it is.